Hello and welcome to Golden Life Living. I am your host, Charise Colbert. Today I want to speak to you about bringing your visions into fruition. And one thing that I facilitate is called a vision board workshop. And I usually do this once a year. And as a matter of fact, I just held one recently where I had about 17 to 18 women come out. So what is a vision board? A vision board is simply a visual organizational tool for the things that you would like to see happen or achieve in your life. So basically you're taking your dreams, your desires, your goals, and you're creating a visual page. And usually you'll grab a poster board, typically 11 by 14 is a good size. And you will need some magazines, and from there you're just going through the magazines and taking some clippings of things that resonates with some things that you would like to do or see happen in your life. I did my first vision board in 2015, and for the most part it was probably more words than pictures. And I did another one the following year in 2016, and that one was definitely more pictures, but I know what those pictures mean and what the intention of each picture is. So from 2015, some things that I had on there is that I would like to run a half marathon. I would like to write a little more and submit work for publishing purposes. And health was definitely one. Getting in the routine of eating well and just getting physically active and fit. So those were a couple of things. Now the great thing about whenever you do a vision board, you're not saying that everything you put on there is going to happen in that year. So typically I would say for this year is 2017, you're looking for things to start happening in 2017 and beyond in that regards. For instance, for 2015, I had a graduation cap on mine. I wasn't going to achieve that in 2015. I knew that because I still had some credits and courses that I need to take to accumulate the appropriate credits. And I can happily announce that I did graduate in December 2016. So some things can happen that year. Some things are going to be more long-term goals. Others may be shorter-term goals. So what things do you want to do for your vision board or look at? Well, there's 8 categories you can look at. The first category is adventure. So this may be something like maybe running a half marathon would be an adventure for you. Maybe you want to climb a mountain or go jump out of a plane, for those that, really get amped up for those type of adventures. But those are type of adventures that you may want to do. Another area is career. This, you are talking about what you want to see happen in your career, whether it's your current career, maybe you're thinking about switching careers. What would you like to see happen in that regards? And again, that could be with your current company, or maybe you want to do something where you're using your gifts and talents for you and develop a career in that regards. And I think that's great, because certainly what I am doing now, I still work somewhere full-time, and then I'm working on developing my company and personal brand as well. So I'm passionate about this. Maybe one day I'll get to do this full time, but in the interim, I'm taking those baby steps to achieve what I want to see happen in my career, and whether that's with my own business entity or with my current employer, because I don't slack off there too. I still have a reputation of sorts. I am my brand. So whatever I do, I want to be good at it and making sure I'm doing my best at it and giving my best in it. Another area is charity. Maybe you want to donate to a particular organization, or maybe you don't want to just float money to an organization. Maybe you want to become actively involved. So think about this in that regard. Maybe you lost someone to cancer, and maybe you want to work with an organization that does something to help those that are currently dealing with a bout with cancer, going through things. And maybe that's something like giving them a ride to their radiation or chemo appointments. Maybe you want to do something in the community that you grew up in with the children in that area. So maybe you look in that regards to work with a school or a nonprofit organization that does something after school for children. So that's another area. A fourth area is family. Maybe you want to do more to spend time with your family, and not just those that reside within the 4 walls of your home. Maybe it's your extended family. So maybe you want to do something with them on a regular basis to connect outside of our electronic gadgets and social media. One thing that I did last year was breakfast at Reese's, and I hosted a monthly breakfast at my home and invited people out. They didn't have to RSVP, just come out when you were able to come out, and I was really happy about that initiative that I did. And it's just a way to connect and make sure that you're seeing your family, because I think with our electronic gadgets and the social media, we're becoming a little bit more disconnected. So we still need that human connection, that human interaction, that personal interface. I think that's good and important to leading a golden living life. Another category is financial freedom, and I'm sure everyone that's watching this will be like, yes, that's one I want. And financial in that regard is maybe there's credit cards you want to pay off, and you want to get to a point where you're not using those credit cards, that every purchase that you make will be a cash purchase, and that you're saving for it and you're saving up to whatever it is you want to purchase versus just passing out the credit card and swiping the card for the purchase, because there's kind of a disconnect with that too. So just taking the reins in, and maybe it's even a point of getting back to using more cash than our cards, whether that's credit or debit. So I think when you have cash, you're a little bit more conscious and a little bit more deliberate with your spending. So those are a couple of things with financial freedom. Maybe you want to start a savings account, and a savings account that you do not touch, because I know that things happen, and when things happen we tend to go to that savings, but maybe you become a little bit more disciplined in knowing that you're not going to touch that. This is strictly for your savings, and maybe it's your emergency fund, and they say you should have at least 3 to 6 months of savings to be able to float you if something should happen at the job force, as far as being able to float you for a few months. Another area is health, and as I said on mine, that's kind of reflected in eating, working out. Definitely if I want to do a half marathon, I can't be a slouch sitting down on the couch and watching TV. There are other things that come into play to making sure that I am healthy and viable to run 13.1 miles. That would be a half marathon. So what is it that you want to do as far as your health goals? Eating healthy, that's one I still struggle with. I know what it is to eat healthy, and I would say last year I just completely fell off the wagon, and I can make excuses. I became busy, a little bit overwhelmed, but there is some planning and preparation that I can do in regards to that. So that's just something that's always in the forefront of my mind as far as my health. As I said, last year wasn't a great year, and this year I'm back on the road to recovery and making sure that I'm eating good and well. And I think a great thing, or one thing to point out as far as health, we get caught up in diets. I don't think a diet should be about denying or restricting yourself. I need to be able to have those treats. So one day this month I had a half cup of ice cream, but that was sufficient. Now typically in the past I wouldn't measure out ice cream. If I wanted a second, third, or fourth serving, I would go have it. But I was disciplined enough to enjoy that treat, to appreciate it, and I was good with it. So there's a learning curve with it, and you'll build up your resistance so that when it is a treat, it truly is a treat and not something that you're indulging on a regular basis. Another area is lifestyle. Now lifestyle, that's up to you to decide what that's going to be. Maybe you're a foodie and you want to check out all the snazzy restaurants in your area, or all the restaurants that are creating the buzz in the media, and that's fine. That's something that maybe you put on your vision board. Another lifestyle thing may be, for me, I think self-care is very important and something that is often negated on my end. And I would say if you have a family and you're the primary caretaker, chances are that probably rings true for you. I think self-care is very important, because while we naturally give of ourselves and not ask any questions about it and not complain about it, it's very important that we are taking care of ourselves. Because as I would say, if we're not giving the best of ourselves, how can we give the best to others? So that's very good, and I think that's a lifestyle change that I'm forever working on, and I need to get a little better with it. And the final area is spirituality. Now, obviously, I get there's different religions, and different entities that people give praise and resonance to. So obviously this is an individual choice and this is up to you. So for you, is it a matter of you want to go to church more, to synagogue more, or is it more of a personal thing that whoever you honor out in this universe, do you want to make that more of a personal connection in that regard? So these are 8 areas that you could look at as far as your vision board. Again, adventure, career, charity, family, financial freedom, health, lifestyle, and spirituality. Welcome back to Golden Life Living. Today we are speaking about vision boards. And a vision board is simply a visual organizational tool for you creating a visual tool of what you want to see happen or what you want to achieve in your life. In the previous segment, I went through the 8 areas that you could look at as far as beginning to create your vision board. Now I kind of want to get into another piece, which is SMART goals, because it's one thing to create the vision, and I will say once you create the vision board, things will come into place and you should actively be doing the work. But I think it's also important to create SMART goals. And if you heard of SMART goals before, SMART is an acronym. So the S stands for goals that are specific, and I think when you create goals that are specific, this provides clarity. And there's going to be some questions under each of these entities that you can ask yourself. So as far as the specific goals, the questions that you can ask are, what do I want to accomplish? Why is this goal important? Who is involved? Because sometimes we do have to tap into others or network with someone else. And in that case, you need to know who are those players going to be. That's going to be very important. And where is it located? For this specific goal, is this something that you can achieve within your home? Do you have to go out and about to do it? Is it going to require additional resources? It's a very important question to answer. And which resources or limits are involved? I think that's a realistic question to ask, because sometimes you certainly have your gifts or talents, and maybe there's something else you need in that regard to achieving your goal, and do you need to tap into someone else's gifts and talents as well? So again, this question of creating specific goals is to help provide clarity. So the M in SMART goals is making sure that they are measurable. And this is a way to track your progress and to stay motivated. And the questions you will ask here is how much, how many, and how will I know when it is accomplished? So with the how much, that could be dollar resources, that could be your time resources, that could be your energy resources. But these are all things that you need to be realistic about when it comes to achieving your goals. And again, this is a way for you to track your progress, because if you just have an open-ended goal, guess what? If fear sets in, you'll just keep pushing it off, and we don't want that to happen. The reason for creating this vision board is to have things come into your life and happen, and for you to actively achieve these goals, which I believe and I know is very possible. So the A represents achievable, and you want to set realistic and attainable goals, but you also want them to stretch you. One thing about this vision board, it's not about your comfort. These are things that are going to put you outside of your comfort zone. And I believe that life truly begins when we step outside of our comfort zone. And I think it's great because your comfort zone is to show you what greatness lies within you, what you are capable of accomplishing, sometimes even when we don't believe it ourselves. So with this question, you have 2 questions. It is, how can I accomplish this goal? And the other question is, how realistic is the goal based on other constraints such as financial factors? And these are things that you have to think about. If you want to open a restaurant, then you're definitely going to have overhead expenses. Chances are, if you're going to have a restaurant, you need a building, which you're going to have to pay a monthly rent for. You have to pay your utilities, your water, your gas, your electricity. You're going to have a staff. So that is a big goal. It is achievable, but you have to look at the financial resources that you have available. Or what would you need? Do you have to go out and get a loan? Can you have investors that will contribute to your dream and your vision? And how are you going to help them see their return on their investment? These are very key, important questions. And for me, my thing is life coaching. Well, life coaching, I can do that via the telephone or through the internet, through a web conference where we can see each other. So it requires some resources, but it's not exhaustive resources. And at this time, I can't afford that. And for my clients that wants to meet face to face, there's a nice little office space that I could rent as needed, and it does not break the bank. And I don't have to pay a monthly fee. I just go in and reserve a conference room as needed. The R in SMART is for relevant, and this is important because it has to matter to you. And this is another thing where I want to point out with the vision board. You are removing the cloak of everyone else's expectations of what they want to see you do, whether it's your supervisor, your coworker, your family, your friends. These are your passions, your dreams, your goals. They resonate within your soul. You cannot get rid of it. You cannot shake it. It is you. It is part of your identity. So we have to be very clear on that what we are chasing because it is what we truly want, not to meet anyone else's standards or societal dictates. That is very important. So some questions that you can ask as a regard to if it's relevant is, does this seem worthwhile? Is this the right time? Does this match my other efforts and needs? Am I the right person to reach this goal? And is it applicable in the current socioeconomic environment? And that last question is very important because maybe now isn't the great time, the right time. Remember, it's 2017 and beyond. If we were in an economic downturn, would it be the best time to open a restaurant? And there's other restaurants out there. And what's going to be your thing to get people to come in, especially if it's an economic downturn and people aren't dining out as much? So those is one of those things that maybe it's just a dream deferred. You don't give up on the dream, but it's not the best time. And those are things we have to be realistic about when we are pursuing our dreams and our goals. And the final aspect is time bound. And time bound is, again, you're setting your target date and deadline. Now, what I do want to warn here, because certainly we set deadlines and sometimes we don't meet them. If you don't meet them, it's okay to extend it, especially if it's a work in progress. You are actively working on that goal, but no, I did not complete it in the time anticipated. Then it's okay to extend that goal. It's not meant to insinuate that if you don't meet it within that time frame that you are to give up on it. Don't do that. So some questions that you asked as far as your target date and time deadline is when, what can I do 6 months from now? What can I do 6 weeks from now? What can I do today? And I think these are good questions because even if you're setting something 6 months from now, you're not going to wait till the 6th month to start working on it. You need to start working on it today. And maybe you're not actively working on it every day, but you're doing little steps, little targets, little goals to help you meet this overall big goal, which you should do. Break it down into smaller chunks so you could achieve your bigger overall goal. Now, next I want to speak about is affirmation, because I believe there is power in our words. And sometimes we could talk about outside critics, but sometimes our worst critic is ourselves. You think about some of the stuff that you say to yourself silently and inwardly. They're not always complimentary. They're not always good and positive. So I think when we're talking about this vision board, you also have to change your mindset. If you create your vision board and you're like, yeah, I don't know how this is going to happen, that's not going to happen, all this is coming from you. And if you start looking at your vision board with the expectation that you are not going to achieve it, then guess what? You're going to live up to that. You are not going to achieve it. So with affirmations, it's very clear to note that these are positive words that you say to yourself. And they have to be powerful. So it's I am. They are powerful and clear declarations. So 3 things. 1, change your negatives into positives. Reverse your negative thoughts by doing the opposite. Convert those thoughts to a positive statement. For instance, I cannot run 3 miles. That's not a positive affirmation, and that's not positive self-talk. So what you will say is, I will run 3 miles. You are affirming what you are planning to do, and you will accomplish it. And you will set into motion you beginning to work towards running those 3 miles. Another example, I will never become a CEO. You transfer that to make it positive. I will become a CEO. And here's the thing, we need to think outside of the box. We think of CEO as far as, especially if we're in the corporate structure, working for companies or the current company that we're at. Maybe you are designed, maybe you are here to be the chief executive officer of your own firm. And if that's the chief executive officer of 1 to 100 to 1,000, so be it. But maybe you are supposed to take your dream and do something with it and to help others and their families in that regard and build your own entity. So I think we need to step outside the box, look outside the box, and when we do that, things begin to open up. Another thing is write it down. I think it's very important to write things down and physically write, not just type it into your electronic gadget. I think the power of writing things down, somehow it etches it onto your brain. And I think that's very important. So you can write down these affirmations as well as your goals. I think that's very good in achieving what we want. Speak them. Say your affirmations out loud. Get in the mirror and talk to yourself. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And there's no one there to judge you. So say your affirmations out loud and you decide how often. Do you say them in the morning before going out into the world? Do you say them in the morning, during the middle of the day, and at night? You make that decision for you and what's going to work best for you. Even as far as if you write them down, take a post-it note, stick it in your car so you're always seeing it and it's floating with you wherever you are. Another thing, this is a party of one. You're not looking for anyone else to affirm you. Only thing you need for achieving your goals is believing in yourself. When other people step in and reaffirm that, that is fine and dandy. But essentially, we got to have that belief in ourselves that we can do this, we can accomplish it, and it will come to be. My challenge to you is to create your own affirmations. You could definitely go out there and Google some and get some ideas, but create your own so they're yours. Create at least 5. I want to encourage everyone to do that. Welcome back to Golden Life Living with Charise. I am your host, Charise Colbert. Today we are discussing vision boards, and a vision board was very instrumental in helping me to get out of my shell and move out of my box and to be able to sit here and record a television show so I could share information with other people. So my last point with vision boarding this year, I kind of speak to journaling. Journaling is good and it resonates with me because I am a writer, and I love to write. But I think journaling is important for the following reasons. There are benefits to it. So one, it's a great way to purge your mind of the day's activities. So it's a way, even before you're going to bed, if you had a rough day, if you had a good day, that's fine. If you had something that just really bugged the heck out of you, journaling is a good way to release that information so you can lay down and have a good night's rest. So you are purging your mind, your body, and soul of the stuff that has happened out in the world. Another benefit is that writing things down is a proven method of etching things upon the brain. So I tend to be a little bit forgetful, and our electronic gadgets, they're great and all, and I can add stuff to my calendar, but somehow, even if I don't exactly remember it, when I write it down, I do have a planner where I physically write everything down. If someone asks me about something, even if I can't recall exactly what it is, I'll get a little nudging like, I think something is going on that day, so let me double check and get back with you. So journaling is good as reinforcing and etching things onto the brain, and it's a very great tool, I think. Another benefit is you may look back and realize you have a story to tell. So even though I say I'm a writer, you may be saying I am not. Even if you're not a writer, just write it down. And again, this isn't something that someone is going to review or grade you on, but you do this a number of years, you may realize you have a story to tell, and even greater than that, you have a story to share. So you may have a book in the making. So that's another benefit of journaling. Another benefit is you're creating a habit of setting your intentions. I think it's very good to set our intentions. I think when we create the vision board, we are setting our intentions. When you are writing down your goals, whether it's weekly or daily, you are setting your intentions for the day. And when you set your intentions for the day, I can guarantee you the way you move upon the earth is going to be working towards that intention. So journaling, you could get a regular spiral notebook. If you like notebooks, you could go buy you a fancy leather bound one with the little bookmark already in there. That'll be great, but you don't have to do anything fancy. If you want to doodle, that's fine. It could be ink, it could be pencil. I do encourage you to, if you're going to try this, and maybe I will present to you another challenge, try it for at least a month where you're journaling daily, or I'll say at least Monday through Friday, but as much as possible 7 days a week, and just see how that grows on you and if that works out for you. So that is really it as far as vision boards. I hope that you are encouraged to go out and create a vision board. You could definitely visit me at www.goldenlifeliving.com to get more information about vision boarding, or you can reach out to me and give me a call as well. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this half hour, and until next time, may you make your life golden.